Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight, calls for the Minister of Health to resign. We've got the details. Nonprofits seeing an increase in donations, plus a look inside the Ministry of Health's reporting and data assembly.
Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News and thank you for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquin. Progressive Liberal Party leader Philip Davis is calling for the immediate resignation of Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands. This comes one day after Sands admitted that he gave permission to 2 Americans to disembark an aircraft and quarantine at home after they donated 2,500 swab tests.
He's accepted responsibility, and the next step for him now to do is do what is right.
During a news conference Thursday, Sands said after the donors landed with the double swab diagnostic tests, they made a request to disembark, a request he approved. The 2 Americans were subsequently tested for COVID-19 and allowed to self-quarantine at their home. This move has raised many questions as hundreds of Bahamians remain stuck abroad. And when they finally make it home, Bahamians will have to remain in a guarded facility for 14 days, even after being tested.
They have to explain that. And it cannot just be that they were bringing in medical supplies. Well, if there were conditions to be able to come back home, well, give the conditions to the Bahamians as well then. If you want them to come but bring medical supplies, tell them that. We might have been able, from our meager resources, to arrange medical supplies for Bahamians to bring home so that they could too come home.
Under his state of emergency, the Prime Minister is the competent authority and has the right to make such a call. PLP Chairman Fred Mitchell says this calls for an explanation from Dr. Hubert Minnis. He said the situation makes the Bahamas look like a banana republic.
We don't even know if this equipment works or anything, so it comes off as political prostitution. You know, you can get into the Bahamas, just offer them some little tests, and in you come. I mean, and for a minister to get up and say, oh, I take responsibility for it, and he in law is not the person responsible. So both he and the people who came in are in violation of the law.
According to Sands, the prior approval given for the flight was for cargo only. In hindsight, Sands said he would have done some things differently, but still defended his decision.
Having accepted responsibility for what he knows was wrong, what then is the next thing to do? Character dictates that he should resign, or at the very least offer his resignation to the competent authority. And if he doesn't do that, then the competent authority ought to dismiss him.
The Americans are residents of the Bahamas, but Davis said it begs the question whether Bahamians could have done the same thing and be afforded the same treatment.
If it were anyone from Nassau Village, they'll have been hauled before the courts immediately. Right, so again, this government continues to demonstrate that there are rules for them and there are rules for us.
Well, a noted attorney is also calling for the health minister's resignation over the decision to allow Americans to enter the country and disembark while hundreds of Bahamians are stuck abroad. However, Wayne Monroe QC says he doesn't believe Dr. Dwayne Sands made the decision on his own. Bethany McDermott has that.
Attorney Wayne Monroe QC is calling for the health minister to tender his resignation for breaching the emergency order. This as scores of Bahamians have been placed before the courts, also for breaching the order.
Firstly, Dr. Sands says, I take responsibility. When a politician says that, if what they do amount to a breach of the law, what necessarily happens is they then tender their resignation.
Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands came under heavy fire on Thursday after it was revealed that he gave the go-ahead for 2 Americans who are Bahamas residents to enter the country after they donated 2,500 double swab diagnostic test kits for COVID-19. However, Monroe argues that under the emergency powers order, the health minister nor the competent authority can make that decision. The order stipulates that except with the prior written permission of the competent authority, all airports, including private airports, shall be closed to international flights carrying passengers, and no visitors shall be permitted to enter and disembark for any reason.
So let us say that you are on a cargo flight, a cargo ship, you enter, you can't disembark, you can't get off. And the getting off isn't subject to the permission of the competent authority at all. It's just you can't disembark.
Monroe stressed that this same order prohibits Bahamians stuck abroad from coming home. The health minister also revealed the flight was only approved for delivery of those items, and he was blindsided by the donor's request to disembark. That explanation did not sit well with CEO of Sky Bahamas and Butler's Aviation Captain Randy Butler, who said that this is highly unlikely.
It's mind-boggling. The whole thing about the story about how the plane gets you, that can't be. It's impossible for that to happen because of the security measures in place before COVID-19 procedures. If I'm coming from Andros and I call up Nassau Approach and they do not have a flight plan on file, they, in no other words, can say, no, 333 Delta Fox, maintain your distance outside of the Nassau control.
Meanwhile, Monroe said he believes the decision was not made by SANS alone. Monroe is also calling for the identity of the donors to be revealed. Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
Well, as thousands remain jobless, nonprofit organizations say they are seeing more and more people reach out for help. The Bahamas Feeding Network is working with several groups to provide grocery boxes and meal vouchers to those in need. Jillian Gray reports.
The demand for food and assistance is increasing, according to several NGOs who say they've seen an influx of persons due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
We have definitely noticed an increase in demand and need as we have gone around the different communities. It's even gone past the initial reach that we've gone to.
It's a similar situation at Ruby's Kitchen and the Greater Chippingham Church of God.
They have been coming and there's no pride anymore. The mask of pride has been taken off because people are in need. And so whereas it was just the inner city, you find now that people are coming from the periphery, from the burbs, from the hills, from the mountains.
Many people coming in, young and the elderly. They want their rent paid, they want their light bill paid, they need food, they need pampers for their kids, they need milk. So even the church ministry, it's a hard thing.
Rosetta Mins from the Greater Chippingham Church of God said they cater to widows, the elderly, and the disabled. She, along with several others, came from various churches and civic groups to collect food parcels from the Bahamas Feeding Network. Over 1,500 parcels will be distributed this week. Executive Director Philip Smith said last week they gave out $40,000 in food vouchers and $20,000 in food parcels. But thanks to the generosity of an anonymous donor, they will now be giving out $75,000 worth of goods this week.
A lot of people live from paycheck to paycheck. So once they're not being paid, they do not have that money. So normally there are 43,000. 5 years ago, the Department of Statistics said there were 43,000 persons that experienced hunger, right? So after Hurricane Dorian and now this, you're probably talking at least 100,000 in my opinion, at least, that are affected or having issues with food.
Smith said they will be giving out food vouchers on the Family Islands. 100% of every donation is used to purchase food. He encouraged people to continue to donate.
We complete an application on every person that receives a parcel. So all of these organizations that collect from us, they have to complete applications on all the persons, the 30, 40, 50 persons that they want to give to. Those persons who are receiving those items must sign that application. We then input that into a program. We could then send that program to anybody.
The nonprofit organization is working with the Alliance Group, which will provide data on various communities to pinpoint the unique needs in each neighborhood. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jillian Gray.
Nassau Village residents raising concern over the water pumps installed in their community by Member of Parliament Halson Moutry. In a video posted on social media, Moutry is seen pumping water and announcing plans to install 7 of the pumps.
4 have already been installed. One on East Alexandra Boulevard, this one, the park at Jonathan Square, park in Jensen Gardens, and we'll be coming down in the Soldier Road area.
Some residents say they are concerned about the quality of the water.
Our most concern is the water safe. If it's filtered, if it have a filter, proper filter, If not, I mean, I wouldn't see at this time with all of this stuff going around and happening, we don't want to get our children sick.
The pump is in an open area, which is a concern for a single mother, Tanisha Seymour.
My concern actually is that it isn't safe, pretty much because where we're standing is actually swampland. If you can turn to the back, you can actually see where the water is actually coming up. It's not safe at all.
All right, still to come, inside the Health Ministry's data assembly and reporting process. Stay tuned. Housed within the ground floor of the Ministry of Health are some of the best qualified medical professionals working to slow down the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic here in the Bahamas. Jerome Sawyer takes a look.
This report is brought to you by Open Systems Technology International. It's like an assembly line for medical data. Every bit of information related to COVID-19 that is collected, tracked and packaged is passed along to a reporting team whose sole responsibility is to brief the Emergency Operations Committee and Health Minister. Nurse Gladys Capron is one of those people with that responsibility.
Before we give out any information, we have to ensure that the information is correct. And so before we do that, we would check our data to make sure, because we know how the population goes. You give out information today and you come back and tell me something else tomorrow, it's a problem. I don't believe them, they're hiding, you know how people go. And so that's the importance of our accurate data. And so we're very careful as to how we give it out.
She gets to see the progress and disturbing trends. Take, for instance, the surge in positive cases and quarantine among her healthcare companions.
It's a healthcare setting. People are sick, they're coming to your facility, and so it's kind of expected in a way. But I mean, for such a small, we're a small country, we only have X amount of nurses and doctors, so it can be quite taxing when you have healthcare workers who would have been contacts, and they themselves have to be taken out of the whole healthcare, equation for a number of times. So it puts kind of a strain on the ones that are left.
Also helping to track and present all of this data is Dr. Blair Woodside.
So we report on the case fatality ratio, how many tests per 100,000, how many cases per 100,000, the chain of transmission, and so on. So we take it a step further as well, not just to present the information that we got.
Even our reporting obligations to bodies like the World Health Organization help to provide important context and experience for the Bahamas.
What it helps us to do is it helps to set guidelines. It also helps to put policies in place, and it also helps us to get any assistance that is needed. So it's like a collaboration effort, international collaboration effort. Sometimes it helps us not to reinvent the wheel, because another country may be going through what we're going through.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jerome Sawyer.
All right, thanks, Jerome. Well, Family Guardian giving back to those on the front line in the fight against COVID-19. Georgia Bain has more.
Doctors, nurses, and other healthcare professionals on the front line receiving a small token of appreciation today. Doctors Hospital's Senior Vice President of Patient Care Services, Bridget Sherman, said there was never a time her nurses showed signs of backing down.
We had comments such as, we were born to do this. This is our calling. This may be the last time that some of these patients even see us. It is telling a tale on our patients and our nurses who are in hospital on Shirley Street as well.
98 bags with a Thanksgiving theme were given to members of the COVID-19 team at Doctors Hospital this morning. Family Guardian's Vice President of the Home Service Sales Division, Ramona Neely, said it's Family Guardian's way of saying thank you.
Basically, we're offering Thanksgiving in May.
So why we're saying Thanksgiving in May, of course we know the term of Thanksgiving is giving back to your community. And these guys make a lot of risk. They take a lot of risk, and of course they're very resilient in what they're doing. So in our bags today, we actually have a Thanksgiving meal. Why do I say that? Well, in the bags it has turkey. It also has apple cider. You can make yourself some peas and rice. And then, of course, a lovely cake at the end.
Sherman said healthcare professionals have made many sacrifices, and to have that acknowledged means a lot.
For Family Guardian today to be acknowledging what it is that they're giving of themselves, taking away from their families, and risking infection, that is something. And so I want to say on behalf of the nurses of Doctors Hospital, thank you very much, and we are most appreciative.
She added that the COVID-19 virus has changed the face of medicine forever.
We choose to look at things in a more positive light, in that definitely we're going to be looking more now at our screening processes when persons come in, locking down a lot more in terms of visitors coming into the hospital, in terms of telehealth medicine, encouraging that a little bit more, virtual counseling.
Reporting for our news, I'm Georgie O'Bain.
All right, thanks, Jojo. Still to come, how a pianist finds hope during the pandemic. Stay tuned. You're watching Our News. Welcome back. The COVID-19 pandemic has dealt another blow to survivors of Hurricane Dorian. However, international pianist and Grand Bahama native Kevin Tomlinson remains hopeful, insisting the global health crisis is just another life lesson. Jasmine Brown has his story.
Grand Bahama resident Kevin Tomlinson has spent most of his life inspiring others through music, from being a high school music teacher to opening the Kevin G. Tomlinson Academy that is home to the world-renowned Grand Bahama Youth Choir. Tomlinson also runs the International Creative Arts Network Camp, which hosts hundreds of kids each year. But now the novel coronavirus has changed all that, as emergency orders have forced people to stay inside and businesses to shutter their doors. Tomlinson, who has traveled the world, says he believes Hurricane Dorian prepared him and other Grand Bahama residents for the economic storm caused by COVID-19.
We're also motivating each other. We're also inspiring each other. See, there is a fear being induced globally, but there is still a group of people who are determined to keep their mind focused and use the word optimistic. Yes, my heart goes out to victims of this virus, especially my good friends in Bimini. I know so much people in Bimini and have so much connections in Bimini, and I feel the pain of what Biminites are going through right now. But I say to Bimini, I say to the people in Bimini, I say to the minister, everyone, listen, let's not lose hope.
In fact, he says he has remained optimistic about the health crisis, as he believes there are many lessons that can be learned.
I am excited. I'm excited because we're getting ready to burst after quarantine. So many new ideas, so many new businesses.
In addition to staying upbeat, he also does his best to inspire others. Over the last month, he began a twice-daily Facebook Live show. Its goal, he says, is to help Bahamians realize staying upbeat is the first step to conquering COVID-19.
So I'm committed every day to help to inspire my community, to help to inspire the people in my community, so that we can one day come out of this quarantine and we can live out the true meaning of those words in our national anthem. See how the world marks the manner of your bearing.
Now, Tomlinson says what he missed most about his normal life is reaching out to the kids he counsels and teaches almost every day. Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
All right, thanks, Jasmine. Still to come, the national baseball team has something to look forward to. The details after this break. Finally in news tonight, some bright spots on the horizon for the national baseball team. Marcellus Hall reports.
Baseball pitching has been one of the long problems for our national baseball team. That seems like it's going to be a problem of the past in short order. Chavez Fernandez is just one of a few behemoths that have now ventured into the professional ranks as a pitcher. He had a talk with us just the other day.
I was one of those guys. Before I went off to school, I was an outfielder, shortstop, trying this. Told my coach I can hit. And as soon as I came in, he was like, hey, man, you have no shot at playing the field when you started. So I transferred on to be a pitcher, and it just worked out well for me. I was trying to maneuver, see how things go, because this is my 5th year pitching full time. So it's kind of, I think it's the best position on the field now.
Where have you seen the most progression, and where do you project yourself in terms of, I guess, needing the most work in terms of getting better?
Working on fast twitch muscles, explosiveness is the best thing for being a pitcher. We don't worry about so much chest muscles for the beaches, you know. For the girls to see, we worry about legs and being able to get that explosiveness, to get that power to drive through to the plate.
The fact that we've had lack of pitchers, you're now going into that territory. Have there been other guys behind you or who you've encouraged now to also make that transition?
Oh, yes. You know, me and Keel, after he made his, Tanaz Thomas, after he made his transition to a pitcher, we've been working together a lot, seeing all the grips on how we feel about what we doing or what can make both of us better. Especially Shamiko Smith. He was another one who played for the Rockies. That's my best friend. We work every day talking about pitching, how we could get better amongst each other. So it's growing, as in the few behemoths who are pitching, we're working together, trying to find a way to, you know, get better as a whole, to bring more younger guys to start pitching.
The organization itself, how have you found that they've treated you, and what have you guys been doing? I guess with no baseball, have you guys heard anything about when or if baseball could possibly resume?
We haven't heard anything yet, but the coaches keep in touch with me, seeing what I'm doing towards keeping my shoulder movement and strength and conditioning wise. They keep up with that stuff to make sure, telling us, hey, stay on top of things. If you're only doing push-ups, if you only can work body weight, make sure you're running. So when times come to play, you'll be ready and you won't be behind.
That's a look at our latest Major League Baseball prospect. For our news, I'm Marcellus Hall. The weather is next.
Thank you for joining us for Our News tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Kyle Joaquin. Remember, you can catch Our News on the Go, the RevGo Play app. Have a good weekend, Bahamas.